My name is Jenna, and this is the story of how my best friend of 12 years destroyed my marriage and how I exposed her at the one place she'd never forget, her own wedding. For most of my life, I've believed in second chances, in forgiveness, in the idea that people make mistakes and that love, real love, can survive anything. But that belief died the day I found out the two people I trusted most had been lying to my face for months. Maybe years don't let me take you back. I met Chris during my senior year of college. He was smart, charming, a little awkward, but sweet in a way that made you feel safe. We dated for 2 years before he proposed, and we got married in a small, beautiful ceremony. Nothing over the top, just the people we loved. One of my bridesmaids was my best friend, Hannah. We met in our freshman dorm. She was funny, loud, and a total flirt. But she was loyal. Or so I thought. Chris liked her from the start. They clicked in that opposites attract way. She was bubbly, he was quiet. I never felt threatened by her. She was my best friend. She helped plan our wedding. She gave a speech that made me cry. So when Chris and I bought our first home, and Hannah needed a place to stay temporarily between apartments, I said yes without thinking twice. That was my first mistake. At first, it was fun, like a sleepover every night. We cooked together, watched Netflix, had wine nights. Chris didn't mind. Or maybe he enjoyed it a little too much. I started noticing little things. Like how Hannah would walk around the house in tiny pajama shorts, the kind she never wore around other people. How she'd sit too close to Chris on the couch. How their friendly teasing turned into inside jokes I wasn't part of. One night, I came home from work early. I walked into the kitchen and found them laughing. Nothing crazy, just laughing. But there was a weird energy. They stopped when they saw me. Like I'd walked in on something, I brushed it off. Then there were the errands they ran together. The late night trips for snacks. The times I'd wake up and find them still talking in the living room at 2 a.m. I brought it up to Chris once. He got defensive. "She's your best friend, Jenna. Don't be paranoid." Hannah just laughed and said, "Jealous much?" I felt stupid, insecure, controlling. So I dropped it, but my gut wouldn't let it go. Then came the night everything fell apart. Chris was in the shower. His phone buzzed. I glanced at it, not trying to snoop, just instinct. It was a message from Hannah. It said, "I can't wait till we don't have to sneak around anymore." My stomach dropped. I opened the messages. Scrolled up. And there it was. Everything. Months of text. Flirting. Photos. Plans to meet. "I love you." Her asking, "Do you think she suspects?" Him replying, "She's too trusting." I felt like the ground had disappeared from under me. My ears rang. My chest was pounding. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I took screenshots, forwarded them to myself. Every last one. Then I closed the phone, walked out of the room, and smiled like nothing was wrong. That night, I pretended to be too tired for dinner. I told Hannah I had cramps and went to bed early. And then I cried into my pillow until the sun came up. The next morning, I packed a bag, told Chris I was going to visit my mom, and left. I didn't tell him I knew. Not yet. I needed time. Time to process. Time to plan. Over the next few weeks, I stayed with my mom and got my head on straight. I talked to a lawyer. Found out what my rights were. We didn't have kids, but we had a mortgage. Joint accounts. Credit cards. I wanted everything clean and legal. I didn't want revenge. I wanted justice, but the more I thought about it, the more I replayed those texts in my head, the more I realized they deserved both. Then, 2 months later, Hannah announced she was engaged. To Chris. She posted a photo of her ring on Instagram with the caption, greater than, sometimes the heart knows what it wants all along. Hashtag real love. I laughed out loud when I saw it. Real love from a man who is still legally married? From a woman who destroyed her best friend's marriage? That was the moment I made my decision. If she was going to parade their betrayal like it was some fairy tale, then I'd give them a fairy tale ending they'd never forget. I waited patiently, watched from a distance. She didn't block me. Bold move. I followed every step of the wedding planning online. Venue, dress fittings. Bachelorette party. Registry. They set the wedding date for the following summer. Just under a year after they got together, I moved back into my house a month before the wedding. Chris had moved out by then. He left the place half empty, like a ghost had been living there. I repainted, replaced the furniture, got a new dog. I rebuilt. Quietly. Strategically. The week of the wedding. I sent out packages. Each one contained flash drive with the full text thread between Hannah and Chris, screenshots of messages from while he and I were still married, time-stamped photo of her wearing my pajamas in our house, and a letter written by hand that said, greater than, this is who you're celebrating this weekend. I sent them to her parents, his parents, her maid of honor, the officiant, and one very special copy to the venue, labeled for delivery to the bride. Morning of the wedding. Then I waited. The wedding was on a Saturday. Friday night, I got a text from an unknown number. It just said, greater than, you absolute psycho. Stay away from us. It was Hannah. Saturday morning, I got another text, this one from Chris. You think this changes anything? We're still getting married. I didn't reply. Instead, I posted a photo on Instagram. It was a picture of me in front of a mirror, holding a glass of champagne, and a t-shirt that said, karma always crashes the party. I didn't need to attend the wedding. My invitation had already been delivered. From what I heard, the wedding still happened. Kind of, but several family members didn't show up. Her father refused to walk her down the aisle. Her maid of honor stepped down. Apparently, the officiant read part of the letter out loud by accident while flipping through notes, and that caused an argument that delayed the ceremony for 2 hours. Someone threw a drink. Someone else cried and left. They eventually got married, legally. At least, but the photos tell a different story. No joy. No sparkle. Just two people smiling through clenched teeth, pretending everything was fine. They never posted a honeymoon album. 3 months later, I heard they started couples counseling. 6 months after that, I got divorce papers in the mail. Not for me. For them. They lasted 8 months. I guess when you start something in lies and betrayal, it's only a matter of time before it collapses. Chris moved away. Hannah? Last I saw, she was back living with her mom, posting self-love quotes on Facebook and pretending none of it ever happened. As for me, I took a trip to Greece, fell in love with a street musician in Athens, had a wine-fueled summer romance that ended with a goodbye kiss and no regrets. I learned that heartbreak doesn't kill you. It refines you. And revenge? Well, sometimes it's just poetic justice in a wedding dress.